Hello and welcome to Jason Talks Geek, a geeky show where I talk about geeky topics with geeky people on a geeky couch that is colored orange. Today I'm involved with who?
Ashley Victoria Robinson.
She's involved with the Jason Talks Geek today. That's right, I said it right. Guys, actually, we recorded this video ahead of time. We are knee deep in everything going on at San Diego Comic-Con, but I still wanted to put a video out. So this is basically a video talking all about questions that we've been asked on the internet using the hashtag Jason Talks Geek.
Nice.
So there's just any kind of geeky topics because I still wanted to bring you Jason Talks Geek, but it won't be very current because we recorded this video ahead of time. So we're not going to talk about anything in Comic-Con. So there you go. Ha! All right, so let's hop right into our first question. This is like a grab bag, mailbag of all our questions.
Okay.
Philip Basham asked, would Magneto be able to lift Mjolnir? XC smiley face.
No.
Okay, why not?
Because we have proved many times, usually through the magic of the Scarlet Witch, Magneto's daughter, that magic beats out any other X-Men power that ever existed in the X-Men's mutants. Mm-hmm. So, Mjolnir is, at its core, a magical item. So it doesn't matter if you can manipulate...
Jane Foster, it's actually science that you don't understand.
I hate that line.
Look at my eyebrows, they've been bleached.
Yeah, really. And then they didn't do that going forward. So I think the magic of it all would overcome the metal manipulation of it all. And there's no way that Eric Lehnsherr is worthy of lifting Mjolnir, whether he's played by Ian McKellen or Michael Fassbender.
I will say that there is a completely terrible X-Men storyline called Ultimatum, where Magneto is able to lift Thor's hammer and he flips the axis of the world. It is a terrible, terrible, one of the worst Marvel comic books one of the worst comic books I have ever read in my entire life. So in that storyline, Magneto is able to lift it because of his magnetic power. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. No. There's no way he lifts, because if you allow Magneto to lift it, you nix the worthy thing.
Right, you negate everything that makes Mjolnir interesting and special. I also want to say that I love that we just debated that as if it was a real thing that would happen in the world. What a great question. Okay,
our next question comes from Spencer Walsh. If you could create another color lantern core, what would the color be, and what emotion/concept would it represent? Ashley, we already have the Roy G. Biv colors out there.
We do.
What is your color lanterns, and what do they represent?
Well, I think that given the fact that Roy G. Biv, white, and black are all representative lantern cores, I think why not lean into that? I would make a rainbow-colored lantern.
Okay, every color.
Every color, but it would be like a cool, like maybe like look like a diamond, because like a prism kind of thing. And then what they represent is a really difficult question.
Okay.
Because I feel like you kind of have your main spectrum of emotion covered there. So I would almost want to be like, oh, well, like, let's go into the pride thing and like their happiness or something. But then it's like, but the blue lanterns do that. So I don't know, diversity lanterns?
The diversity lantern.
They're all politically correct. That's their superpower, and they'll yell at you on Twitter about it.
I am going to completely plagiarize Futurama. I am creating the beige lanterns, the neutrals.
That's so funny.
They are the neutral lanterns that don't give a damn about anybody. And if your planet's going to get destroyed, oh well.
Tell my wife, hello.
Yes. All I know is maybe.
Aw, the Swiss Lantern Corps.
So there you go. That is my question.
That's
all
really
right.
funny.
Because it is a hard question.
It is a really hard question.
Chris Radman at Chris4317 says, thoughts on a studio developing a live-action movie / Netflix series for Vic Sage? The question. I would love to see this happening. Now, let's answer his first question. The only studio that could develop this is Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So there you go. Warner Bros. Would have to make a deal with Netflix. What do you think about Vic Sage the Question? Are you a fan of Vic Sage the Question?
I know almost nothing about Vic Sage the Question.
Well, you saw him in Justice League Unlimited.
Yep, that's pretty
much.
much.
Voiced by Jeffrey Combs.
Yes, and you know what? Jeffrey Combs would be a great casting choice.
Way too old.
Now,
Way too old.
Don't care.
No.
Right
Way
now.
too old.
And he's like 66.
Way too
Doesn't
old.
matter. I think that the Netflix route would be a really interesting way to take it, because if you kind of leaned into the darkness and grit the way Daredevil has, and again, with that, when you're not working within studio or network restrictions, you can do that a little bit more. And I think that I don't know if Vic Sage has a place in the cinematic universe, so maybe a longer form mystery would be a better venue to tell his stories.
I agree. I think that this should be a 5-part, 15-minute episodes on the CW Seed. And I think we should get rid of the fedora. Because, well, there's a reason why.
Sure.
I don't think you can make a Question movie right now. You want to know why? Because of the Spirit. Because the Spirit.
Well said.
Because the Spirit movie came out with a guy in a fedora and has the same silhouette as the Question and tanked, and that movie was terrible.
Tanked horribly.
And people still remember that movie. And I think the minute you release that Question movie, everybody's gonna be like, he looks like the Spirit. That movie was terrible.
Yeah.
I also think that he's a hard I love the Question. I love Vic Sage. I love the old Denny O'Neil series.
Nice.
I really do. I think he is a character that needs to be done on the TV series, but I think he's a tough sell for CW. So
you don't think he can live in like the Legends world?
He could guest star. But that's what I'm saying, like, throw him up on the CW Seed in tiny little webisodes, and then you can introduce him into, like, Arrow. I think he fits on Arrow better than things like that. But I think you got to introduce him by himself first. That's what I would suggest do. Like, let's do a CW Seed web show.
So basically do a live action version of what they did for Vixen.
Yes, and except, like, we create, like, an hour, 15-minute episode.
Yeah.
Like, one entire episode told in parts. I think that's how you're going to do it.
That's a great pitch.
There you go. All right, next question comes from Jared Holland. One of Superman's weaknesses is magic. So does that mean that Ron Weasley could kill Superman?
Ron Weasley's like one of my favorite characters from Harry Potter, but he's kind of useless.
Okay.
I don't think Ron Weasley could kill anyone. And I'm sure someone is going to go down to the comment section and cite where he murdered some Death Eater during the Battle of Hogwarts. No. Absolutely not.
Listen, I'm going to explain this to you scientifically.
Okay.
Ready? Superman's weaknesses is magic, right? So Ron Weasley's wand, even if he can remember and say a spell, because you are right, he is a very inadequate wizard.
He's kind of dumb.
If he can get that spell off, the only thing he does is take away Superman's powers. Clark Kent, Kansas farm boy, football star, is still there. He's going to sock Ron Weasley straight in the face.
Just imagining Henry Cavill like beating the snot out of Rupert Grint. It's so funny.
Listen, he's going to beat the snot out of Rupert Grint, Ron Weasley, so hard that all the red's going to leave his hair and he's going to be white.
That's funny.
That's how hard this Clark Kent wearing a Kansas City Royals t-shirt is going to punch him in the face.
Right. The only way that Ron gets the upper hand is if Hermione, his wife, who did his homework all through school, is there to help him and save his ass again.
Yeah.
But even then, Superman could probably take her.
Yeah, it's true. All right, cool. Next question. This is a very deep question. This is our final question. Jackson Compton asks, mainstream comics tend to mirror current social images of their story arcs. If superheroes actually existed in the real world, would we have the same social issues that we have now, or would there be an entirely new set of social issues? Ashley, this is a very deep question. This is a very great question.
This is a very thoughtful question.
Jackson, thank you for the question. What do you think?
I think we would have a lot of the same social issues that we have right now. Many of them are systemic. They go back centuries. They go back millennia, like where a lot of these fear of others comes from. I think the only way that it wouldn't happen would be like if you had a Superman and Superman was like, well, I'm just going to take everyone's guns away. Maybe that would solve the gun control issue, but Superman's about freedom, so then it becomes this whole other thing. I think there would be another set of issues, of course, arising, and then you get the Civil War debate about do you register, what's a vigilante, on and on and on and on and on. Unfortunately, I don't think we would necessarily be in a better place than we are if superheroes were real. What do you think?
It's a very interesting point. I think we'd be in a worse place. If superheroes, let's simplify it.
Okay.
Let's say the Justice League exists in our world. The Justice League as we know it, like Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash. Let's throw Martian Manhunter in there, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Like I made it in 18.
Which Green Lantern?
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Kyle Rayner. All right.
Sexiest Green
My
Lantern.
favorite. The guy I'm wearing on my shirt, right here. They exist in our world.
Okay.
Some of the social issues we have would still exist. I think the racial issues would still exist.
And I think the fact that you have people of color on that team would maybe make that exponential.
Would gun control be an issue? Oh, I don't know. Would war be an issue? I don't know. Would certain populations, certain countries not having enough food? I don't know, because I think the Justice League would take care of that. I actually think we would create this whole new social issue of, are the heroes doing too much?
A level of dependency.
Yes. I think the whole issue would create, like, these heroes are here, but are we just becoming lazy? The same issue that a lot of people have with smartphones.
Yes.
Because smartphones do so much for us. Is it really the right thing for us to have smartphones? I think the same thing would happen with the Justice League. People would be like, well, yeah, the Justice League is feeding the entire population of Africa, but the entire population of Africa is dependent on the Justice League for their food.
I think it's interesting that in your scenario, you drop us in media res where we have this team, because when Man of Steel came out, we had this discussion about what would happen if just Superman revealed himself.
Yeah.
Like, how would that be handled? And I don't know if we could even handle the arrival of a Kryptonian in a non-aggressive way.
No, people would freak the hell out.
Yeah. And I think that the military would go and scoop that person up.
Yeah, I think they would. I don't know. I think it would be a completely different world. But I agree with you. I think we would be in a worse place.
Yeah.
I really do. Because I think introducing that team, I think, does nothing but lead to escalation. That line from the end of Batman Begins, where he's like, "What about escalation? Like, we wear our armor, a bulletproof vest. They get armor-piercing rounds. That totally exists."
Yes, it does.
And I think militaries. So let's even put it this way: the Justice League of America only exists in America.
Right.
China is doing everything they can to develop a nuclear weapon that can take all 7 of them out.
China is. North Korea is.
Yeah.
Iraq is.
Russia is. It would even lead to maybe even the European Union doing that.
Right. I think you would see, if it was the Justice League of America, I think you would see a breakdown of allies.
Yeah. I think our world would be worse, because we would have these beings that could demolish cities.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have that now. And I'm kind of glad we don't.
Right.
But I think that's what would happen. Like, cities would just go poof.
Well, I mean, look what happened in New York in Avengers.
Look what happened to Bloodhaven.
Oof.
All right, well, thank you all for your questions, guys. As I said, we were knee-deep in Comic-Con, so that's why this video is a little bit late, but we still wanted to serve you guys. So check us out on Twitter. I'm at Jawiin, at Jawiin, and Ashley, where are you?
At Ashley V. Robinson.
That's right. Next week, we'll have a full episode of Jason Talks Geek. But until then, don't forget to click subscribe. Go listen to our podcast, Geek History Lesson. All kinds of good stuff on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And I'll be seeing you next week.